In the past decade, Islamic militants stepped up their attacks against Christians, and the persecution against believers has become particularly vicious. The most brutal attacks started in the south and moved north, causing a mass exodus of Christians. Half to two-thirds of the country's Christians have left Iraq since 2003.
I am not saying that there is any Christian at the south part, but since 2003 until today, about 80% of the Christians at the south, they came to Baghdad and after that to the northern part of Iraq.
Pastor HAITHAM says things were relatively peaceful for the Christians in the middle part of the country, but then that changed.
After 2005, they start to kidnap them, to kill them, to explode their church buildings. So after 2005, most of the Christians at the middle part of Iraq, they also came to the northern part of Iraq.
For the Christians who remain in Iraq, life is difficult. It's hard to find an Iraqi Christian who has not been directly affected by the brutal violence against the church. OUDISHO MICHEEL is the village leader of BARASOR in Iraqi Kurdistan that is made up of Christians who fled Mosul and Baghdad.
They started in Mosul killing us as Christians. If they found out our IDs as Christians, they kill us. Whole families were killed, children, adults, parents. They killed the families. It was very dangerous to live there.
24-year-old AFANAN knows this danger. Her husband worked as a security guard at a factory. He was the only Christian among his Muslim co-workers who tried to force him to leave his job and get money out of him. When he refused both demands, he would pay with his life, leaving AFANAN a widow of 2 small children.
When they put us in the room, it was 6:30 in the evening. They kept us there while they beat my husband. We heard the beating until 1 o'clock. Then I heard a shot. They just shot him.
Like AFANAN, JABIR has been traumatized by the brutality of Muslim extremists. The 41-year-old married father of 3 fled Baghdad with his family in 2006 after being threatened by Al-Qaeda and came to Iraqi Kurdistan.
The situation was very bad. I knew as a Christian that Muslim radicals, Al-Qaeda, threatened all Christians, so we left. We were targets. We lived in a difficult area and, of course, lived in fear. One day I saw them kill another Christian, a man who lived on the same street. I didn't want my family to see that kind of thing. I felt it was important to leave.
But JABIR's parents stayed in Baghdad. In December 2010, they were attacked in their home by Muslim militants because they were Christians.
They followed my mother into the kitchen. They beat her there and took her to another room and beat her again. And then they took her into the bathroom and cut her neck like a cross and put a knife in her chest. They crushed her nose. They did the same thing to my father. He tried to escape, but they got him on the stairs. They cut his neck and smashed his nose. He died like that. I saw their bodies.
As a result of the brutal murder of his parents, JABIR suffered a mental breakdown. He's been unable to find work, and his family's future is uncertain. And that's the challenge many Iraqi Christians are facing, not knowing what will come next. Pastor HAITHAM leads a church in KIRKUK that is active in reaching their community with the gospel, and that has led to several attacks. On one occasion, militant Muslims placed a package of bombs at the door of the church. The timer on the package of bombs stopped 1 minute before it was to explode, which Pastor HAITHAM says was a miracle. Another time, the bomb squad blew up a vehicle on the spot near the church. In spite of the dangers, he has no plans to leave the country and wants his fellow Christians to stay as well.
We have some churches in this country which had been built in the first Christian century. So, as a believer, I am not talking as a pastor, I don't want my country to be empty from the Christianity.
Because of what happened, this makes us all together as Christians. They killed a lot of our people. They killed pastors. They killed a lot of Christians. This doesn't take away our faith, but makes our faith strong. We love Jesus, and we need to be real children of Jesus.